Hi, babes. My name is Tori, and this is the Horror Babe Podcast, episode 4. And so I decided to jump ahead, way ahead, and do one of my favorite horror movies ever, Jeepers Creepers. And I also thought it would be the perfect time to do this because a lot of people have been talking about Jeepers Creepers lately over on TikTok, because a girl by the name of Mara, she decided that the Creeper was a horror villain that she thought that she could beat. And the entirety of TikTok was just like, girl, have you not seen this movie? Like, ma'am. So I thought this would be a good one to do. I love this movie bad. This is one of my comfort movies. I have probably seen this movie 230 times. I have it on DVD. Anytime it's on streaming, I throw it on as background noise. I put it on to fall asleep to. It's bad, okay? It's bad. My sister teases me about this movie because I watch it so much, but let's get into it. So, Jeepers Creepers, written and directed by Victor Salva, produced by J. Todd Harris, Barry Opper, and Tom Luse, starring Gina Phillips, Justin Long, and Jonathan Breck. It runs for 91 minutes, and it was originally released in the Fantasia Film Festival that I want to say was in Canada in July of 2001, but the United States release date was August 31st, 2001. I don't really recall when I first watched this movie. I don't know. I used to watch a lot of random movies on the Sci-Fi Channel, and maybe that's where I came across it. But also, this came out in 2001, so let's see, I was 10, 11? So this came out August 31st. Okay, so that was right before I turned 10. Shenanigans. But if you have not seen this movie, first of all, what are you doing here? Because spoilers, duh. But the premise is you have Trish and Derry, their siblings. They are driving home for spring break, and they encounter a person driving a large van that kind of like harasses them on the road. And the van drives off, and so, they think that's the end of it, whatever. But they end up coming across this person again when they see him dumping bodies down a shaft outside of an abandoned church. And they are like, let's get the fuck out of here. Let's call the cops. They couldn't call the cops because the cell phone was dead, couldn't charge the phone. And that guy proceeds to chase after them and chases them off of the road. Now, you would think that they would just get in the car and flee to the closest town to contact the police, but no. Men, how men just love to be stupid in horror movies, like 95% of the time. Well, Derry is like, maybe we should go back and see what he actually dumped down the shaft. Maybe the person that he dumped down the shaft is hurt. Maybe they're still alive. Maybe we could help them. We should go back. And of course, the sister is looking at him like, bro, are you fucking crazy? But he guilts her into going back to the old church, and they look down the shaft. Derry proceeds to fall down said shaft, and the creeper just proceeds to follow them and chase after them throughout the entirety of the movie. But if I really want to talk about some of my favorite parts here, let's talk about one of the interesting parts that nobody talks about, that a lot of people that they look over, and I'm not even sure if it's important or not, but I'm observant and I don't know if like this actually means anything or not. So when the creeper chases after them the first time and drives off. So if you remember at the beginning of the movie, Trish and Derry are playing the license plate game. And so after the creeper drives off, Derry was reading the license plate as beating you. Now, I know everybody says it's be eating you, and like, yeah, obviously, of course. But if you recall, Derry was asking Trish why she wanted to drive home with him for spring break and not stay at school with her poli-sci track team boyfriend. But like Trish says, like they broke up or something of that nature or whatever. And she didn't really want to tell Derry about it. And he's like, well, you should at least think about what you're going to tell mom and dad because, you know, they love him, blah, blah, blah. But it's very minuscule, but I get hung up on it every time. So they're discussing the couple that had went missing like freaking years ago and had never been found. And Trish says something like, oh, you know, I always thought that this would be the highway that I would die on. And her Derry's looking at her like, what is this guy talking about her boyfriend? He's like, what has this guy been doing to you? And then it's like a few seconds pass and he says, beating you? And she looks over at him. And then Derry proceeds to say, that was the license plate, beating you. But like, we just gloss right over that. We just glide on past that. But me being me, I needed some more to that because what? But that's just me. Anywho, Derry. I adore Derry. Total little brother vibes, but just stupid man brain. Because why in God's name would you want to go back to the church and look down the pipe? Like, even Trish said, like, this is why girls are smarter. Like, why would you want to go do that knowing that this guy obviously just dumped bodies down a pipe and proceeded to chase you for a second time? You don't know what he's actually capable of. Like, what sense does that make? Yeah, he drove off, but then he could have doubled back. But you want to go look down the pipe. And then you guys go look down the pipe and you're like, I think I'm just going to climb halfway in like a fucking dummy. And then you have rats scrambling towards you. And then you want to get mad at Trish because you fell. Like, Derry was pissed at Trish because she let him go. But you were the one kicking. Like, how was she supposed to hold on? But then you were the one who decided to climb into the pipe in the first place. Like, hello, excuse me? Anywho, they get away from the church and they get to the diner. Now, the diner, first of all, the waitress made me mad. You can see the distress on their faces. And you're like, the police? Like, her expression was like, we don't need to call the police. Like, girl, do you see the distress? Like, they're not joking. But like, the phone call, I really hate how Trish was in denial when Giselle called the phone at the diner trying to warn them about everything. It's like, you guys, it's not what's the word I'm looking for? Random, that she called the diner and specifically knew who you guys were and what had happened. Like, why would you not take it seriously? I mean, I guess in the moment, I would think that it was obviously weird as fuck, but like, considering everything that had happened, I wouldn't completely blow it off. And then I would have thought that it was 10 times more weird after the people in the diner was like, yeah, so he was just sniffing all of your dirty fucking laundry in the car. Like, hello? I feel like Trish wasn't taking it as serious, which is weird. Like, do you not see how distraught your brother is? And it was blowing me. Like, she wasn't really believing it until they got to when they were leaving the diner with the cop car, and the creeper attacked the cop car, and the cop's head hit their car. I feel like that was finally when she realized that something nuts was going on. Now, when they got to the cat lady's house, I always wonder if that lady, it's not funny. I always wonder if that old lady ended up staying alive, because the creeper, he just tossed her aside. Mind you, this was an old lady, but I can't really like call her old because she busted up out of that house with a shotgun and shot at his ass. Like, she ain't even think twice about it. But the way that he tossed her aside, and her being that old, it's like, did she survive? Or like, so after he tossed her aside, it was right outside of her house that Trish ran the creeper over several times with the car. Like, he was in shambles. So, and we know that he drove his truck to the police station after that. But did the creeper go feast on the old lady so that he could get enough energy to go to the police station? Like, how did that happen? And then how good is his range of smell that he was able to follow them directly to the police station? Like, is his scent like a dog's? And then how did he learn to drive? Now, I know in the second movie we actually see his feet, and he has like claws or talons, whatever the fuck. But how did he learn to drive? Where did he get the truck? How does he put gas in it? Where did he get the license plate? Who is it registered to? Like, these are just the questions I have. Every time I watch the movie, I end up with new questions because I'm just like, what the fuck was going on? Now, when they get to the police station, when Giselle shows up, she already knew how it was going to turn out, but I guess she thought that she could change it. But I don't know. I didn't like the third movie. I only watched it once. And I know that the third one is technically supposed to be like what, the following day, if I recall. I'm not sure. But like, I need some follow up. It was just, how do you tell neighboring towns? Like, how do you report that this happened? This being came here. It's like, yeah, you have a lot of witnesses, but couldn't they just pass it off as like mass psychosis or something? I don't know. Those are just the thoughts that I have watching the movie, but I really love this movie. I feel like it was very original. It was different. It was a movie where the villain actually got away at the end, and he got away with killing one of the main characters. Like, it actually sucked that Derry ended up dead in the end, but like, I like movies that don't really hold back. They're like, oh, this is the main character. Yep, we're going to off you. We're going to call it a day. I like movies like that sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes. And this worked well. And like, the second movie proceeded to be a really great sequel. Now, the rest of them that came after that, look, that's a conversation for another day, because 8 times out of 10, I turn my nose up at reboots and remakes or unnecessary sequels. I do have a few exceptions, and we'll eventually get to those. But yeah, no, Jeepers Creepers is that one. Love this movie. Bad. 5 stars. Period. Like, that's literally all I have to say about it. Love this movie. Bad. And you know what? We'll go ahead and do Jeepers Creepers 2 tomorrow. I hope you'll be here for that. Okay. Thanks. Bye.